Sergei Lavrov is one of the most accomplished and seasoned diplomats on the world stage, as of course we saw when contrasting Sergei Lavrov's brilliance and um, Liz Truss's stupidity. Lavrov, as the Russian foreign minister for almost all this century so far, is navigating the post-Ukraine war diplomatic landscape. And his multifaceted role today, he's been a busy boy, addressing the US Russian relations under Trump's incoming administration. And at the same time, two little news flashes within a matter of minutes. At the same time, addresses Turkey's concerns over Syria. And this is an illustration, I suppose, of his diplomatic speed in managing the sort of global chaos that his country has been causing. His acknowledgement of reasonable and normal signals from the Trump administration about resuming dialogue is great, and his insistence that Washington must take the first step, as it was the US that froze relations post-Ukraine, is also interesting. Lavrov's demand that there is recognition of Russia's legitimate interest before dialogue can be effective is, well, it's the sort of verbiage you would expect. And the implicit criticism of previous US policies ignoring Russian concerns are framed as a main obstacle to any progress in the US involvement in negotiations for the future of Ukraine. His nod to the role of diplomacy during wartime emphasizes communication even in the middle of hostility. That's a subtle jab at the West for its perceived abandonment of this principle, and he's right to make that jab. That principle is really important, that even during wartime, this conversation, this diplomacy should be ongoing. And one of the things that has blocked that is the use of sanctions as a tool. I think it's an extraordinarily imprecise weapon, and I hope the world will learn from the deployment of sanctions that they need to be significantly more targeted to be effective and to keep open the channels of communication. His interest in Turkey and Turkey's unease about the situation on its Syrian border, exacerbated by the ongoing Kurdish activity, the Kurdish guerrilla activity and the terrorist activity and the remnants of ISIS. This is, of course, again, something which Russia has in so many ways caused. Ankara's balancing act between cooperating with Russia and the NATO allies, and particularly the US, is spectacular. And Lavrov's careful diplomacy to reassure Turkey of Russia's commitment to addressing border stability is important, and the strategic importance of the Astana peace process and its fragile balance must be maintained. The tension between Turkey's NATO obligation and its growing reliance on Moscow in this particular region is worrying, and Lavrov's leverage in positioning Russia as an indispensable player in Middle Eastern diplomacy is sort of a last-ditch attempt to ensure that Russia remains relevant. Sergei Lavrov's remarks highlight Russia's two-pronged attack, and they also highlight the importance of Lavrov himself in this particular scenario. Lavrov is a monstrous diplomatic presence, and to ignore him would be very foolish indeed. But I am quietly entertained and quietly amused by the sudden firing off of these two completely different issues that have both been sent off as stories in TASS this morning within a matter of 5 minutes, and either Lavrov had a particularly boozy day yesterday and didn't do anything, is making up for it now. Or, as I significantly suspect, Lavrov is just extraordinarily efficient, and you ignore, or you try and better Lavrov at your own expense, because Lavrov is brilliant. This is an objective statement. Lavrov is brilliant, and to find a way through to navigate through the complexities of resolving the Ukrainian war. The West, all countries need Lavrov on their side. Lavrov is more important than anybody else, I would suggest, in the Kremlin.